What up, y'all? Guess we back up on this thing. Guess we're gonna keep this going on for a little while. We'll see. But this is the topic that's a little special to me because it's we're gonna dive deep in this one. All right. So before we go get started, anybody that feel like they need to leave, exit this page, go right ahead. Don't want to offend nobody if you're sensitive to these type of subject matters. But it's about to be some real talk though. Alright, so we're gonna jump right into it. Return to innocence. We hear the word innocent. We think about little fat cute babies, cute animals, all that good stuff, right? And true that they are, but as on one level. Innocence is a reference to everybody. Everybody has that essence of innocence in you that never leaves you. It's just that the way the world is orchestrated and how systems are formed, it teaches people the opposite. You can have sex prematurely or before consenting age or before you become adult. He's a hoe, she's a hoe. They trash. Nothing pure about them. That's usually what they say. That's usually what people expect. Or people view themselves. You know what I'm saying? Or, he committed a crime or he did this, he did that. It's nothing pure about him. People look at innocence in so many categories, but it never leaves you. The universe at some point is going to challenge you to return to that energy to bring some balance and healing to it. Now, we're going to go more in detail, get some scenarios. It can be a little bit more relatable so it can make a little bit more sense. And it's referred to male or female. And we'll get to the males in a minute. But we're going to a scenario with a female called Jane Doe. Alright? So Jane grew up in an abusive home ever since she was a little girl, ever since she can remember. Whether it's through a cousin, an uncle, or a dad, whoever. It was like that since day one from her. Skipping forward up into high school, her first boyfriend, her first puppy love is going to be most of the time a guy that she gravitates to, that she can relate to, that come from a similar background. Even if he wasn't abused, or he might have been abused, he probably seen some form of abuse. Might have seen his father abuse his mother. Sister went through some things, etc. You know what I'm saying? So they both come from these toxic homes. Environment is always going to be the third parent. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're in a trailer home. I don't care if you're in the projects. I don't care if you're in the suburbs. It doesn't matter. Environment is very key on helping raising a child. You know what I'm saying? So going back to Jane and her boyfriend, they have, we're going to take on the world type of mentality. And, after high school, they try to stick it out. Now the world's kicking their ass because they're not prepared for the world. They bring a lot of toxic energy to the world. So that doesn't work out, but she has a couple of children by him, and years go by, she become try to be the best mother she can be, do a decent job based on her circumstances and her mental health, hold a job from time to time. She did everything just to raise those babies. Those children, they graduate high school, college, they're adults now. They got their own life. Years go down, more years go by. She looks back and start reflecting on her life. And now she's thinking that, damn, my best years are behind me. And what's my end game now? Well, my end game now, I'm just going to try to make the best of my last days, of my last years, which is settling. And that's no knock because we all can relate to some form of settling. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, that's her limit now that she sees herself. When that innocence is still there, that pureness is still there. And the universe, as I said, is going to give you a chance at one point to either you see that energy or it shows you that energy for you to bring healing and balance to it. And it's a self journey. It could be one of the most magical damn things you do, one of the most trippy things in you if you have the courage, and fearlessness to do it. So suppose she goes on that journey, that self journey, healing and getting help or therapy, whatever it may be. She forms some kind of damn miracle. And she understand, okay, this pureness thing it is me. It is there. I see myself. I'm there. It don't stop there though. The cool thing about this is that now she has the knowledge of and wisdom of darkness, of these trials and tribulations that life threw at her, that she was born into, that she can protect this newfound energy now of innocence. Like she will protect her children. A lot of people are not really taught that. They taught that once you get a certain stage in your life, that's it. Almost like machines. And it's more common than people realize. I'm gonna get a little left field with y'all for a second, right? So, a person have a 9 to 5. They paying the bills, dealing with responsibilities. They got children to take care of if they have children. They significant others. They might have side gigs, even for business owners, almost similar to the sense. They're doing all that, but how much time do they have in the day to focus on themselves? How many hours on the average do a person have to focus on themselves within this world, this systematic world, which is built to keep you distracted mainly from yourself? So you don't have the time to really dissect, what makes you tick, where these insecurities coming from. Yeah, you had these experiences, but are you dealing with things day by day to help you return back to the core of who you are based on the subject we're talking about, return to innocence, of pureness, or whatever it may be? Or are you having these casual conversations with people that, has a similar background or experiences that you can relate to? Y'all hash it out. No, it's unrealistic. It's hard to implement into your lifestyle. It's like somebody trying to go on a diet. It's 500 pounds. And, they're trying to eat like a rabbit. It's like they might do it for a little while, but it's hard to implement into their lifestyle. It's not exercise enough. You know what I'm saying? But it's there. The thing about men is that a lot of men who've been abused, they put on this masculine wall, this masculine mask. They use their masculine energy for something that could be unhealthy a lot of times. Now, it's not me judging nobody's situation whatsoever, by no means. This is based on the common things that you see, on what you've heard, or what you hear, or what people share. Or some things are just logical. You see what I'm saying? But you look at most men, especially men in the correctional facility or penitentiary, not 1% of them are dealing with, them type of weaknesses, or transforming that masculine energy to something to protect themselves based on the experience they had of being abused that stem from their background. You see what I'm saying? So it's hard for them to really acknowledge who they really are on the inside, that pureness, or even believe is even there. Where deep down, it's really that little boy that's still screaming on the inside, saying, hey, don't forget about me. Hey, come see me, man. Hey, I just want to be heard. It's a return to that pureness. Again, you return to that pureness with that knowledge of that darkness. You become a dual threat, not only to society, but for anybody that's trying to come within your range with any malevolent intent. That gives you an advantage in life. As innocent as children are to a certain age, they are vulnerable and they haven't had experiences enough, to manifest some type of thoughts, or those habits, or that strength. So I don't think that people understand the value of returning back to a core of who you are like that, because that's just the essence of your soul. Now, I'm going to take it farther. We're gonna dive deep even more. Put your swimming caps on. All right. Now, when it comes to innocence and pureness and stuff, a lot of people can be so caught up in, toxic energy and toxic ways that that's what they gravitate towards. That's what gravitates towards them. And when that happens, that keeps you farther away from your individuality, who you are. Your individuality, in my opinion, is your spirituality, because we are built to evolve. Fuck all that age and shit and all that. I'm talking about evolution. We're built to evolve. A lot of times we don't have the environments to thrive to do that. It's very basic. It's very limited. But evolution is the key of who you really are. So when you gravitate towards a lot of the toxic energy and it keeps you limited and it's oppressing on who you are, that's your identity. And it's a lot of things about yourself you do not know. You don't know how to be a real, you have limitations of being your companionship with your companion, your partner, your significant others. And I'm going to give you an example. Male and female. For the males, let's say you have males that have been abused and been through what they've been through and yada yada. They haven't dealt with their issues. A lot of males intimately do not know how to really be intimate with a female the way they naturally could be or should be. Stay with me now. And I'm not casting no judgment. I ain't no damn psychological therapist and nothing like that. Now, no sex doctor. So y'all don't be blowing me up on some shit. No, it's just real talk. And I think people can relate to when I get to this point. For a lot of men who's been through that abuse, who haven't dealt with those, those issues, haven't returned back to that pureness as we've been talking about, don't really know how to be truly intimate with a woman in the sense of it's a mutual intimacy. Because a lot of times, those type of men that have been through those experiences, they are scarred in those areas. They don't know who they really are. So they're seeing themselves how they would like to be satisfied if they was a female through this woman, because they're so emotionally scarred, if that makes sense. It's warped. A lot of times, I almost guarantee you that most women can sense that from men. I don't care if they love this man, if they go through the fires of hell with this dude, you know what I'm saying, or they'll wait on him. They see it a lot of times, they just don't say nothing. It's talked about. You can be a person where you haven't ever been through that type of abuse. You've just seen people go through shit like that. People open up to you with their situations over the years. Observing, sitting back and checking people out. Or knowing certain people that you knew at one point that had those experiences. Regardless, that the information is out there. It's there. It's in front of you. But going back to the females, a lot of times they will see that in that type of guy if he has those issues. They might not say nothing because they want to protect him and his insecurities or whatever it may be. But it's there. But a lot of men, don't have that healthy conversation to have, which can help a lot of men out if they did. A lot of times, a lot of men that's in those situations come from those type of toxic backgrounds. It's an identity crisis. It's a mask. A lot of times they're looking at, the big brothers or the fathers or the men in the neighborhoods, whoever it may be, or workplaces. Again, it doesn't matter what environment it is. This is related to most men who go through stuff like this. They're downloading everything about these men they look up to because they're starving for some kind of influence. So if this man is being toxic to his mom, he has, so many women in his life, and he's open with it. He sees arguments with his mother and father about infidelity, or he's seeing how his sister's being treated, or he got the homeboys, that's older than him telling him how many women they ran through and ran trains on, or they got these fraternity parties, with the dudes. talking about, they did this and that, they went to sorority party. He's downloading all this. And that's on top of the abuse that he might have been through. You see what I'm saying? So by the time he gets intimate with a woman, he doesn't really know how to. It's one dimensional. It's what he's being taught. So when you turn back to innocence like that and that pureness, you see yourself. For a lot of men, your masculinity, you will see it on a whole different level. You will attract more than trying to pursue. You look at Animal Kingdom, you look at a lion. A lioness a lot of time is pursuing a male for certain reasons. It's a natural attraction. It has nothing to do with he got game or this and that. No, it's a natural attraction. Now going back to the women. A woman who's been through that type of abuse, especially emotionally, she's emotionally scarred because she's emotional by nature. A lot of times they're going to be guarded like a motherfucker because of that experience. And there's nothing you can really do to penetrate a woman if she decided to have those walls up because of that. All right? And a lot of times she gets to see things coming a mile away if she's being sized up. Now it can be hard for, a man that come into her life that's actually a genuinely good dude that sees her potential and want to be there for her, have experiences with her, see where it go from there, love, etc. But she had that wall for that reason. You know what I'm saying? Scarred. A lot of times that if she hasn't had that healing and return back to that pureness, she's not able to understand that on emotional sense. The thing about it though, for both male and female, doesn't matter. You've been scarred. You have identity crisis. You have emotional trauma. You go through that healing. And you go through that self journey of improving and returning back to that pureness and implementing that understanding that you have now the knowledge and wisdom of darkness to protect that. You won't be so guarded. It won't be such an identity crisis. You know who you are. You will see everything you need to see on every dimension you need to see it. And whatever partner or companion comes into your life that you allow into your life, they will see that strength about you and they will be naturally forced to respect that. You have to put up auditions. They will sense that vibe, that energy. Oh man, this person is master of the light and the dark. See, a lot of that is not really taught, and a lot of those type of conversations, we digging deep because there's different levels to that. So it wasn't just a typical return to innocence and no, righty, then all that shit, kumbaya stuff. No, return to innocence, that shit is a journey. But it's the best gift you can give yourself. And on top of that, the knowledge and wisdom of the darkness to protect that. Dual threat. That's my little tidbit on that, y'all. I hope that helped. I hope somebody got something from that. And I hope you're able to implement that into your life in some other form of fashion. Y'all stay up. Y'all be easy. Y'all keep the light bright. Yeah.